What up, gamers? I'm Jason.
I'm Julie.
And today on Dice and Dragons, we are going to be reviewing the Thor God of Thunder expansion for Marvel Champions, the card game. Now, unfortunately, the designer is not credited, so it was most likely one of the original designers of the game, either Caleb Grace, Michael Boggs, or Nate French. So whoever did it, thanks for doing it. And the game is published, of course, by Fantasy Flight Games. With that being said, Julie will now tell you more about the game itself.
Well, the game itself we've reviewed quite a few times, right? It's a cooperative deck game. I can't even remember what it's.
Living card game.
Living card game. Okay, and I believe it was for ages 11 and above. If memory serves. It could be wrong. Whether it is or not, I think 11 and above is a good age for this. Yeah, I think obviously you can't play this alone. It's an expansion. You need the original game.
Yes, and it is for 1 to 4 players. What you're going to be doing in the game is taking control of your favorite Marvel hero, trying to stop a villain from completing a scheme and defeating him in the process. Now, depending on how many players, the health of the villains will vary, and the setup of each scenario is unique. You can also build your own custom scenarios. Also, as it is a living card game, you do get some standard pre-built decks and recommended deck lists, but feel free to mix and match the components as you would like. Now, in the Thor expansion, you will get a fully pre-made Thor deck, as well as some new cards that can be added just to any deck. You can also break up this pre-made deck and take those cards and mix and match them however you choose. So with that being said, Julie, what time is it?
It's time to grab our drinks.
I'm going to grab our best friend.
We're going to take it to the table.
I'm going to take it to the table. I know you've been eagerly awaiting this one. You were very disappointed in the first expansions when I told you what was announced. You were like, Miss Marvel? I thought she'd be happy about Miss Marvel. Her first response was?
When's Thor coming?
Yes. I told her about Cap. She was like, okay, but I want Thor. She just likes the abs. Let's take a look at the components for the Thor expansion for Marvel Champions, the card game. Now we've got Thor and his new ally, Lady Sif. So let's take a quick look at Thor's card. He's of course an Avenger with 1 thwart, 2 attack, 2 defense. His special ability is after you engage a minion, you will draw 2 cards. Now if we take a look at his alter ego form, he can recover for 4. And his action worthy, which is search your deck and discard pile for the Mjolnir upgrade and add it to your hand. It's pretty cool. You'll be able to get your hammer back. Let's just take a quick look at Lady Sif. So she's fairly strong with 2 thwart and 2 attack. And after Lady Sif enters play, ready Thor or Odin's son. So you get to ready your character. That is definitely a solid ability. Now we'll take a quick look at Thor's specific character deck. So we've got his Defender of the 9 Realms. So he's got a hero action for some thwarting. Here we got one for Asgard. So it's an alter ego action, so you've got to be Odin's son. So search your deck and discard pile for a card with the Asgard trait. Add it to your hand. And of course, Hammer Throw, which will do 8 damage. And return Mjolnir to your hand. This attack gains overkill. That's very cool. Lightning Strike, so you must spend energy resources to deal X damage to the villain. And each minion engaged with you, so you're able to hit the main villain and everyone else. That's cool. Support, Asgard gives you 1+1 to your hand size. And then God of Thunder, exhaust God of Thunder to generate some resources. Then of course, Mjolnir, Thor gets +1 attack and the aerial trait. And then his helmet gives him +5 hit points. Pretty cool stuff. Now we'll take a look at the Thor specific aggression deck. We do get some new cards overall. So we do get a new ally, Hercules. So he's an Avenger. And 1 thwart, 3 attack. Reduce the cost to play Hercules by 1 for each minion engaged with you. Pretty cool. Valkyrie. So another ally, thwart of 1 attack of 2. After Valkyrie enters play, deal 2 damage to a minion. 3 damage instead if you paid for the card using an energy resource. After that, we've got some standard cards. Get Over Here is a new one. So deal 1 damage to a minion if you have the aerial trait, and then you would engage that enemy. Mean Swing. Hero Interrupt. When your hero makes a basic attack, exhaust a weapon upgrade on your hero, and your hero gets +3 for the attack. That's pretty cool. And then just some of the cards we've seen before. Another new one, Hall of Heroes. After you defeat a minion, place 1 glory counter here. Exhaust a Hall of Heroes. Remove 3 glory counters to draw 3 cards. Pretty cool. And last, Battle Fury. After your attacks and defeats a minion, deal 1 damage to your hero and discard Battle Fury. Just trying to see what deal 1 damage to your hero. Oh, ready your hero. I was trying to figure out at the end why it was good. It's the readying your hero aspect at the end. And this is Thor's axe, so pretty cool. So after your hero attacks, an enemy spend a fight resource, the fist, to deal 2 damage to an enemy. And I'm going to try to just pronounce this. Yarnbjorn, his axe. Very cool. Now we've got, of course, his obligation, which is Odin's anger, which brings into play the family feud, which is a scheme for Loki. So we will have to face Loki if that comes into play. We've got Frost Giants, as well as the Trickster, which is, of course, a treachery card. Perfectly fits with Loki. Next, we've got just the basic cards. We've got Heimdall, so another new ally. After Heimdall enters play, look at the top 3 cards of the encounter deck. Discard 1 of them. Pretty cool. Then place the others back. Invulnerability, so you give your hero a tough status card. And then just some of the regular cards we've seen before. Now, lastly, we have the generic decks that aren't part of the, generic cards that can go into any deck. So we've got some new Justice card support attached to the main scheme, and then you can increase the target threat value of the attached scheme by 4. So that's pretty cool. So under surveillance. Teamwork, this is an interrupt when you use your basic thwart power or attack. Exhaust an ally you control to add their power, so you just exhaust them, don't have to weaken them. And then second win, for protection, heal 4 damage from an identity, 5 damage instead if you paid for this card using a science resource. Very cool. And then the last card, Enhanced Physique. Exhaust Enhanced Physique and remove 1 physical counter from it to generate a resource. Definitely like these cards. The deck building element is growing more and more that we get. Of course, we've got as well the rule book for Thor. It really just gives you the explanation of Thor, the character, the style to play aggression. And if you're wondering what is in his pre-made deck, it is on the back of this card. So there you have it. We've now covered all the components in a lot more detail than we normally do, but as we're not doing an unboxing, we wanted to do a very detailed look at these cards. Now, Julie and I are going to be coming back at you with a review of the expansion. Thor, God of Thunder, the expansion for Marvel Champions, the card game. What did you think of this expansion?
Well, as you said in the intro, I've been anxiously awaiting this one. Thor is one of my favorite Marvel champions. And not just because of Chris Hemsworth, though he does.
You meant hero. Sorry.
Hero. He's a champion. He's a hero. He's a champion. He's a superhero. Anyways, it's not just because of Chris Hemsworth, though he does bring him to life very well. I've always enjoyed all of those movies. But I just love I know nothing about the comic book version, but I just love the power that he brings. And given how much fun I had with She-Hulk, I figured this one would be fun to be able to smashy smash.
Yeah, and they get it right. Thor is an aggression deck. It is not a justice, protection, leadership. It is aggression.
Yeah, so I heard a couple weeks back that it was coming, and I asked you to make sure that you had pre-ordered it, and it came out on Friday, I believe, and we played it on Saturday, right?
Yes, and this is what I have to say. I'm very lucky. She tells me the game needs to be pre-ordered. Typically, we would play maybe 1 or 2 games over the weekend. We do have a lot of cool stuff we're working on, but she said, so we're slotting in Thor, right? She's like, are we going to see a movie? Or I'm like, I have Thor. She's like, we can play Thor. We'll watch a movie at home. We're very lucky, man.
So there was no question I was playing Thor first.
Yes, she got to play Thor first. Happy wife, happy life. Remember, gentlemen, it's not always true. It's like 90% true.
So that being said, I really enjoyed the Thor character, and he's built right in this card, in the cards that he has, and the available skills, I would say, that he has. A little bit overpowered, I think, because it was lots of fun playing him and basically doing 20 damage in 1 turn to 1 villain. However, when I lived the reverse and you were playing it, I was playing She-Hulk, which has a tendency to be able to do a lot of the damage.
But it's a much quicker turn.
Yes, my turns were a lot quicker versus, the things that you can do with Thor. You can really build up being able to pick up a lot of cards and end up having a long turn. He took that, he saw me do it, and he took it to another level. And
if I didn't do that, sorry to jump in, we were going to lose because the main scheme was almost completed. We were in trouble. And then I just happened to get the combo.
Well, that was our fault for playing 2 aggression characters.
Yes. I did warn you. I was like, I'm Thor. He's aggression. And you're like, I'll be She-Hulk. And I'm like, you don't want the Justice deck? Maybe, someone else? She was like, no, aggression. I'm like, okay. So luckily, we still turned it around. I don't think it would have worked out well if we'd had a higher player count and we're all aggression. I think it would have just went badly.
That being said, what I wanted to say was a little bit of the negative side of Thor is that he really is a superhero in the sense that he can take on a bunch of villains and minions all at once and almost not need any of his companions. And it was a little long, especially when you got the machine going and had, a lot of card options to be able to play. You were playing for a long time, and you say by the time it gets to be your turn again, and I can only imagine, if you're playing multiple player counts, how that could be annoying, because by the time it's your turn again, it can take a long time.
Yes, and we played it first with against Ultron, then we played against Claw and the Masters of Evil. So there was a lot of minions that were in the deck. And using Thor's ability, like 9 realms actually, combined with Chase Them Down. So he does have decent threat reduction. The tricky part with Thor is that it all has to come out at the right time. But then when you start doing it right, you start pulling the minions towards you, because whenever a minion engages with you, you get cards. Then when you kill a minion, if you've got the right card out, you can draw more cards. So at one point, I think I drew like 10 cards. So all of a sudden, it was like, all right, let's fight this guy. And it's like, I'll do a hammer throw, and then it has to take me only back. When I'm like, I can play it back down again, and I'll hit this guy, do a hammer throw. It's like, oh, then lightning strike and hit everything. And it's like, oh, this is kind of a little nutty with terms of the decimation that you're doing. But he is definitely a little weaker on the threat reduction. So if you're looking for a strong solo hero, I'm not sure that Thor really fits that mold compared to other heroes. I'm sure that you could build a really awesome deck around it, especially one that's got a high energy count just to feed into his lightning strike. But the one thing it's not a but, this is probably the most thematic character out of any of them. Like Cap feels very thematic as well with his shield toss and everything else, but when playing like Thor, I was just getting images of the beginning of Thor Ragnarok in my head with like that rock and roll music playing and Thor just twirling his hammer, smashing all the minions, like just being a straight up badass.
That, and I can't remember the name of the site, but basically he has the hammer and that site, and he can
Yarnborn. So yes, he can get his axe, which is pretty cool. If you don't know, the axe, it is from the comics. It is not in any of the MCU stuff. It's from Thor the Unworthy, when he lost his worthiness and Jane Foster became Thor. So seeing Yarnborn is, I think we might see it in Thor Love and Thunder, the upcoming movie.
So all that to say, I really enjoyed it. I think for me, this is a must in the collection. Obviously, I alluded to this because I didn't really give Jason a choice. We were getting this to add to the collection.
Yes, so I definitely think that this is a solid expansion. Go ahead and give it a number rating. I mean, there's enough complexity with terms of what you're getting in the pack with regards to the hero and the new cards. Unlike some other expansions where you might just be like throwing in characters, besides the hero, you're getting stuff that will affect your overall game. So what is your score for
as an expansion? Because obviously I can't rate it as a game, but as an expansion, this is easily an 8.5 for me.
Yeah, no, I actually think this is a 9. I think this is an essential expansion to the game. Some of the cards that you get, having Thor and having that thematic, strong character is something that I think you do get a little bit in the game. While it feels thematic, this is the first time you're feeling like you're getting that real big, hard-hitting superhero, and absolutely enjoy this expansion. I think it's a must-buy for anyone that has Marvel Champions, the card game. With that being said, Julie, what time is it?
It's time to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when we have new content for you.
Also, down below in the video description, you will find links to all of our social media feeds. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You want to see pictures of us playing Marvel Champions, the card game. There are plenty of them out there. Also, you'll find a link back to our review of Marvel Champions, as well as our most recent review.
That was
sorry.
Mouthful, huh?
Yes.
So now it's time to grab our drinks.
Grab our best friend.
And we're going to keep playing games.
Gonna keep playing games. We're definitely
likely going to play this game again.
Well, yes, we're going to play it again. We're going to play with Thor again. There's even some more expansions coming. So the next 3 have been announced. We have Black Widow.
You can have her. I'll play with Thor.
We have Doctor Strange.
He could be interesting.
And then the one that I'm playing because I just don't know if you'd like him. Hulk.
Well, Hulk has been in She-Hulk, so it might be fun.
Yeah.
But he doesn't seem to have a lot of thwart.
Don't care. Hulk smash.